Hi there, my name is Georgie Newbury. I'm a flower farmer and florist based between fashionable Bruton and up and coming Wincanton in Somerset. Now, having made a film for my mum about my garden, I'm at my mum's house visiting, so I thought I'd take you round her garden because, like many people, I really am a gardener because she's a gardener, and there's no escaping the fact that the reason I picked up a border fork when I was 40 was because I didn't know what else to do, and the example I had was from her. And when she was a mum with small children, she gardened. So that's how Common Farm Flowers was born. So let's go for a little walk around the garden and see what we can see. Now, do remember, if you enjoy these video clips, you can... Oh, hello, Purdy. Here's Googie.
You're quite right, Georgie. There are little living creatures coming
Yes. Is that the peony that you were given by Francesca?
from it. It is. It is. It's called Alexander Fleming, who invented electricity or light bulbs or something.
We could do something with it.
Penicillin.
We could do something with it.
Yes. Anyway, I'll put it back and do it later.
Okay. Let's go for a wander around the garden.
Anna Loddon, like me.
I do not have Anna Loddon like you. It is quite an
It itself everywhere. It's a perfect nuisance, but what a beauty.
Is it good because you've got slightly acidic soil, Googie?
I have very, very wet winters too, and it likes to have its feet down.
Yes.
It's growing through a crack in the pavement.
It is amazing. Look at your greenhouse. That is something else, your greenhouse.
Well, there's nothing in it now, but the other day I cut down an enormous tree because it was going to break the glass, and now it's back again.
Is
in
that
a
your
flash.
mimosa?
That was my mimosa.
You see, everybody, that's why I cut down my mimosa, and knowing happily it'll do that, because that's what Googie does, and I just copy my mother. All the best people. Right, are you going to show us the next bit?
Come into the vegetable garden.
Come into the garden, Maud.
Absolutely. Now, if you'd like to go up there, Georgie,
Yes.
you can see the tropolium across the gap.
Oh
Because
my
this is
goodness.
My pride and joy.
Oh my
It didn't
goodness.
like where I planted it, which was right over there. It hopped across and preferred copper beech hedge.
What is it? A trachonium?
Tropolium.
Tropolium?
Yes.
Can you spell that without a sherry?
Trapoleum.
Very good. And look at your vegetable garden. It's bursting at the seams.
But how can I pick the beans when they get up there?
I know, that's the problem with you and I.
With enormous difficulty.
We're only 5'2".
And my neighbour thinks it's quite funny.
Well, at least the birds will be happy.
But I can pick the peas. These
Yes.
are large tube with a purple pod.
Perfect.
Why have a green pod when you can have a purple pod?
Completely right.
And my lettuces have all shot because we've had no rain.
Yes, but we've been having them for lunch and they've been delicious.
But it's wonderful what you can do with a shot lettuce.
Yes, straight onto the compost heap.
Yeah.
Mum, this is proper, and round the edge of the cucumber frame came Mr. McGregor, waving a rake and shouting,
And
"Stop,
at the end,
thief!"
We have a watering can for Peter Rabbit to hide in.
There's even the watering can.
I know. But look at, I mean, who has 6 foot high?
And the sweet peas at the back.
Yes.
Oh, they are
That's
good.
to give my neighbour privacy.
Now tell me, Googie, do you put anything particularly mulchy on your vegetable patch?
Yes, I put a mixture of a sheep wool and bracken. No
Peat-free.
peat at all, whatever, at any time.
And where do you get that from, please, may I ask? Dalefoot.
Daleford.
Good. Lovely Shona at
Where
Dalefoot.
else? But
Well,
you can come round because...
Oh my gosh, look at the roof of your potting shed.
Well, they've just finished. I had orchids, as you can see,
Oh my gosh, look at that.
and it's just full of orchids, which are rather heavenly.
So this is just a sedum roof.
Yes.
Do you ever water it? No.
No.
You're in Cumbria. Why would you water a
Yes,
sedum
well,
roof?
but here I have to say, I once planted a packet of New Zealand dock.
The
And once you've
Actia.
got it, you've got it forever.
What is
But
it?
I couldn't live without it.
Atriplex rubra.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, you see?
Yes.
I'm not... Sometimes I can do it. Look at the gate. Did you make the gate?
No, it was made by at enormous speed, 2.5 days, because I was opening for the NGS, and I didn't have a gate. and we put a wire front to stop the dogs from jumping in.
Yes.
And then the grandmother, the other grandmother to my grandchildren, gave me one
Montana.
creeping Montana. It stopped them jumping in because it added 18 inches to it.
It's very effective, the Montana. The gate is amazing. I love the
The gate
gate.
is heavenly.
Because
It's-
look at this view from
It's made
here.
by Cleft.
Oh, with the greenhouse and I mean, just exquisite. It's like the definitive vegetable garden.
Yes, but nothing's in neat rows. So when I pick a lettuce, it doesn't show.
Neat row, schmeat row, that's what I say. So what are we going to see next?
Next, we have what looks like a dog's burial place. That is our Wi-Fi coming in.
Is it?
Yes, in a blue plastic. Blue plastic, not very attractive.
That is
And
hilarious.
then it goes up there and runs right along behind the vegetable garden because nobody
And
can
you
see
would
it.
never know.
No.
Well, that's
So,
very
phew.
efficient. Very efficient.
Now next we have to have something for smell. And this is our smell. It says on it, stinky comfrey mix.
Oh,
And when it says stinky, don't go any closer than this. It is appalling.
I love that Purdy having a sniff in case.
No, she's trying to get into the water.
And so do you just scoop a bit up?
No, you don't. It's a third comfrey to there,
Yes.
chopped up fine.
Yes.
A third of it has to be my own compost.
Yes.
And then fill it with water. And,
So what
Back off.
do you put it in a sieve?
no, you stir it. As soon as it's finished getting all wet, you
Yes.
stir it vigorously every day for a month.
Yes.
Then it's ready to use, but you must only use a teacupful in a 5-litre can.
Okay.
It's strong.
So
But
that's
you use it for every single tree and shrub in your garden.
and your garden will look like yours. So I'd say that was a pretty good
Well,
advertisement.
as Nigel says, it's a barely controlled jungle. So if you want it to look like mine,
Let's see more of the jungle.
do it.
Which
Okay.
way are we going now? Tomatoes first? Look at the chilies. I'd just like you all to know that my mother is 81 years old and does this with the help of her friend Carol, who comes one day a week.
And he's 71.
And is 71. So basically, you too can look this fit if you grow vegetables like this. Look at the tomatoes.
Oh, but look at the sweet pepper.
And the sweet peppers. I'm sneaking in. I
Pour
daren't.
into the watering can.
I don't want to break anything. Would you look at the peppers? Look at that. So are these all fed by this amazing feed that you make?
Yes.
Well, you see, there you are. There's an advertisement, everybody. Right, onwards and upwards.
Onwards and upwards, absolutely. I'm afraid, look at the length of my grass.
Oh, please. It's very good. We've been doing no mow May, no mow June, no mow July.
Now, this is next year's compost, which is not quite ready yet. That's last year's compost, and you keep a little bit of it for your stinky mix.
Oh, yes, clever.
And this is, I've covered it because otherwise everything dries out too quickly.
Look, you put a layer of
and
grass on the top.
And turns into something that can burn rather easily.
Oh.
You have layer of weeds and then grass, and then weeds and then grass. Don't ever put grass and grass. What is your green bin for?
Very good. Oh, now look. Oh my gosh.
Oh, keep all your water, every drop.
I need a Bowser very, very badly because that's so attractive compared to the big plastic things we've got. And this
And
is
then
immaculate.
These are my new taken little tiny bits of my big balls.
Oh, your box, but you don't have any box blight or box caterpillar, or do you just keep...
Heavens. Up here, it's like moth. We don't have moth up here.
You don't have moth
far,
either.
Too far to fly.
Look, and here's the walled garden. I'd just like to everybody to know that not very long ago, about 25 years ago, this was a field. This whole area.
Seems improbable. And the tropodium just coming through
Just
the
coming
backside
through
of
the hedge. It is astonishing. And here the Bayou Blue Gate to keep you happy on a gloomy day in December. Wouldn't that cheer anybody up? It's
was brave.
fantastic.
It was brave.
And then we have a view.
We have some lilies just come out.
Let's see your...
It's a good bed. because in the spring we have early Christmas roses and things all over the place.
Yes.
And you cut off the leaves on Boxing Day.
Of
and
the
then
hellebores.
You can see of the hellebores, and then you can see the flowers. And then we go into lilies and azaleas. Some lilies not out yet, but 2 of them doing well.
Gosh, they are stunning.
And anything which likes deep shade.
Look at this. So you've made a shade garden
Yes.
from an empty field.
Yes.
And did you very intelligently plan these trees? Because look at the colour. You've really thought...
Well, that's the elm, which is taken over from real elm. But that one thrives.
Is this not a real elm? This is a
No.
Dutch elm disease proof elm.
Yes.
There are varieties, aren't there, that
Yes.
will do that.
And that is fantastic.
And then my favourite thing that you do everywhere, we have to go walk down here. This was full of orchids and the fritillaries were astonishing.
The fritillaries were an embarrassment.
And how do you make more white ones?
I
Because you're
remember
very keen
somebody-
on the white
I
ones.
was running through somebody's garden. He said, "Mind the fritillaries," and there were 4 of them. But here we actually mow through the fritillaries to get to that part of the garden.
And you have a thing about white Fritillaria meleagris.
Yes. What you do is, while they're still out, don't wait there till they get a seed. The white ones have red string tied round them, and then when they become a seed head, pull them up, put them upside down in a bucket, forget about them. In 3 months' time, go and shake the tops, and suddenly you'll have half an inch of white fritillary.
Oh.
Because they're so mean in the packets, they give you 24 red.
Yes,
One
this is
white.
true. And you're a keen just chopper offer of the top of a shrub, I
Yes, we
see.
just started, because we've been here 32 years. We just started bringing down to half height everything.
And they couldn't mind less.
No, and they love it. They love it.
They really do.
actually
I'm a keen
they do
pollarder
start
myself.
laughing.
Oh, look, can we see the
Yes.
potting shed?
The potting shed had the windows covered the other day, but I cut the creepers off.
This is just, and look. What is this blue person?
That's a very good question. Mike, Viper's bugloss.
That's it.
There it is.
Look at the Viper's bugloss, which has taken
Well,
over
I
this
thought it was
whole
something completely different.
area.
And will you excuse me? Well, I just
Careful walking down there because you'll scratch yourself to bits.
yes, but there is something which is just going to see. I don't
Ruthless
necessarily
weeding as you go.
want that one.
If you could see the bees here, it is humming with bees. And that's,
Well, that is marjoram. Where would you expect them to hum?
I know, but the bugloss they love too. They really, and then you've got a geum that's just populated the path all the way down to your, whose ghost is that down there? Miss Wilmot.
Miss Wilmot's ghost. I don't know who she was, but I do love her. I do love her thistle.
Look, I've just got to show you, this is something I think Mum is so clever with. Would you look? This is a patchwork hedge. Now, Googie, my mum, had a long and very rather illustrious career as a quilter. And so now she's not making so many quilts, but she's made a patchwork garden instead.
Because sadly, after I'd planted this meandering yew hedge, we went down with a hideous disease. And I rang Myerscough and said, "What do I do?" And they said, "We've just had it." And we dug out the whole hedge and burnt it. Take out your diseased bits and burn them. Wipe down your tools with Jay's fluid
Yes.
and put them only in the green bin. Don't put them in your compost.
No.
And I said, too late. And I started to dig for them in no way. So
Yeah.
they went into the compost. And they said you can replant anything you like as long as it's nothing to do with anything fir tree.
Well, look, it's been
we've
so
replanted
successful.
it with some very prickly stuff.
Yes, but look, the Berberis, look at the
But
colour.
some good colours.
Really great colour.
Actually, come around the other way and I'll show you what else I planted.
Look, more patchwork. Love it.
Oh, just before you go, my daughters know what I want, and that is a dark red oak, guaranteed to put on less than 2 inches a year.
Yes.
So it's never going to get in the way. And I'm very
Don't want anything to get in the way.
keep them away from the road.
And then you've just, and then this is how much, what is it, 3/4 of an acre?
0.78.
0.78 of an acre. And yet it feels much roomier because you've got so many different little corners.
You can see here where the U came to, and where the U, that's where the U is.
Oh, okay.
Get cuts off. That's one U, and that's one
Oh,
U.
I see, yes. They
It's
try and
interesting.
keep tall.
And next week I have to cut it, and this is a real tester to see whether an 81-year-old can cut a hedge and live through the experience.
I think you'll be all right.
But this is what we've planted.
I love
It
the
looks very
berberis.
shaggy at the moment,
It's such a great colour.
but Georgie will come again and take it when I've just trimmed it. Perhaps.
No. Maybe.
Too late. We started trimming that into a round bobble.
So you keep trying, but it'll, well, one day.
No, it looks quite good about for a week, a year.
Yes. Gosh, it's good.
It's better.
Now, do remember, if you're enjoying these videos, do subscribe. Somewhere here is a subscription button, and press the bell icon, and we'll make sure that you know when there's another clip coming up. Come on, let's go and see some more about the garden. So I'm going to slowly... Yeah, coming.
There's a particularly nice Cercidiphyllum here.
A whaty?
Particularly nice Cercidiphyllum.
Did you say Cercidiphyllum?
Yes.
Can you spell it?
Which got very, very badly frosted because I grew it by the very, very tall to protect it. What my husband calls
Fartichokes.
but it's recovered by sending out new shoots, and in the autumn it smells of burnt sugar and sends you wild.
It is fantastic, isn't it?
But the smell, you have to come back and smell it again.
Yes, yes.
And then when you hoover up the leaves with a mower, it sends you wild again.
It does
so
send you wild.
It's a terrible, terrible time-consuming shrub. It was in memory of a friend of mine, and Nigel said, you know, there were 18 of you in your class at school, and one dies and you plant a tree. You know, you're going to get out of control here. Anyway, Fiona was the first person, and the last person to have a tree planted for her.
And then you've got little patches of wildflowers down here that are just going over. So gorgeous.
Yes, we'll cut this quite soon, but it's full of vetches, and the seeds have not quite spilt them yet.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you do need to rush, do you?
No. Thank goodness we don't have to rush for anything.
Oh. And the little clematis. Every now and again, you're very good at just a little climber, just a little person
Well,
pinging open.
I'd rather have a little tiny clematis than a big blousy one. Nellie Moser is okay for some, not for me.
But not your line.
No. But
I'm very keen.
This whole thing got the spring frost,
Oh.
but sent up a sucker.
Oh.
So your Mike will very kindly cut that down, and we'll do it from here.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And
Perfect.
that is the most poisonous
Yes.
plant in the garden.
We got rid of ours, and every year I get rid of a bit more. It's been there. We've been there for nearly
Yes.
20 years,
Yep.
and the blimming aconitum will not go. But
No.
that salvia is
Isn't it heaven?
heaven. I love the landing strip
And mind your feet, because there are the babies.
for the bees. Oh yes.
You see, they
Look, I'll come back with a
see
trowel.
over the fence. And there's another little one.
Oh, very pretty. And this is the lovely pink froth that is not a meadowsweet, but it's very en vogue, you know.
I can tell you what it is later.
It is all over Hauser and Worth in
Oh, good.
that
I'm so
Somersetshire. So you and Piet Audulf
Have a lot in common.
have a lot in common. He's probably inspired by you, I should think.
And this one, my son-in-law, is the most heavenly brown and blue striped iris, and he stole it in the middle of the night in the Scilly Isles. in
Oh,
Cumbria. And,
that son-in-law.
and his died and mine thrived.
Not that we're a competitive family in any way.
For goodness sake.
I want to see the hedgehog house, Goog. Where's
Oh,
the
I can
hedgehog
see
house?
the hedgehog house. I sat waiting for the hedgehogs,
And you never
Sorry.
saw it.
but there were at least 17 of them until 10:30 at night, and then the word hot bath came into my head, and I'm afraid I fled.
Look at that.
Now this is it's ideal But in the summer, they leave for about a month. It gets too hot. It's an empty tin barrow, and it's got its holding bits sawn off.
Yes.
Because it would stick through the wire netting. And it's got a little tiny door cut out of it.
Yes.
By a man with a chainsaw. So they come out here and they squeeze underneath because of the dog that cannot be harassed.
Do you see? Look, there they
And
go.
They walk up to underneath the gate where there's a special escape route for them, cross the road, eat my neighbour's mealworms, come back to me for a drink, which is outside the garden so my dog doesn't drink it all,
Yes.
and then go to bed.
Well, they're happy days.
There have been 17 in there.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Good.
I want to go back through the middle so we see the whole view. And do these, do you get nuts off your hazels?
Yes.
Whole?
But the best ones are from the bottom one because it's an Italian nut tree.
Oh,
These
look
are
at
just
that
ordinary
view.
hazels. And normally squirrels get them before we do.
well, you know.
But you know, there's enough for all of us.
Yeah, share and
Oh,
share
and I
alike.
must show you, if you want
Woo.
to fill a gap, to
Yes.
keep the deer out,
Yes.
don't fill it with a line going past your eyes of timber.
Oh,
Fill it like a picture frame.
and then
and
you
then
don't see
can
it.
see the view, and you don't notice the timber.
Very clever.
Well, the man who did it said this is unusual. I said, just do it.
Yeah,
and
very
you'll see
clever.
what I mean afterwards.
That's a
And
top
he said he
tip.
understood completely.
Yeah,
Well, it makes a big difference. 'cause
it certainly does.
We have entrances for deer all over the place. And we've only had one deer in.
So no ticks.
The archway is tricky. We dug down 4 inches last year, Carol and I, put in one of those plastic things which you have in a car park in a field
Yes.
underneath, and then filled it with moss.
Oh,
So
for some
now
grip.
You can now run a barrow
Yeah,
over
because
it.
otherwise they're impossible. You get
And you
squidgy
mow
bits.
one side and mow back the other
Yeah.
side.
And there's the view back up the garden. I have to say, Googie, it is really quite something.
I have a slight worry about this bluey green cedar. It was planted by a friend of mine who was the best gardener in the area. When she planted it, she said, "Who's this in memory of?" And I didn't like to say you. And we dug the hole, so she dropped it in. And it's suddenly going to get too big.
Did she fall down dead the following week?
No, but she was attacked by your cat.
Oh, I
And
remember.
she had blood in her shoes,
Oh dear.
which was awful. Her daughter had to come and fetch her.
Oh dear. Oh well, that's the end of that story.
I know. And these are my 2 new beds, which is great, as you can understand, with a hose.
They're very pretty.
We dug out. Oh look, seagulls. That means it's a bit rough
Ah.
at the sea. We dug out. What?
Both, the contents of both, they were full of swan necks, weren't
No,
they?
no, here they were full of the most obnoxious single flowering little campanula with only one flower.
Yes.
And it suddenly got a little bit overexcited with my top dressing
Yes.
and overtook all the plants.
Yeah.
So we dug all the plants out, put them somewhere else. Don't mind what came.
And you've
We
replanted them.
replanted it. But I went to Tatton Park last week and forgot to get 2 little tiny pale blue and pale pink climbers to go in there.
Well, perhaps if we have time, we can
And it was
ping
too-
over to Tom and Abby's plants.
Yes, that'd be
And
nice.
have a rave up.
Yes, I'll have them. I know
Oh.
I planted everything too close together because there's no room for weeds. This is a bit of a joke. It was going to be my rose garden, and I ordered 20 roses from the most expensive man who will be nameless, but has square green pots.
I know that one.
Planted them all out, and the next day they were flat on the ground. They'd blown over.
Oh no.
So I went to Tatton Park, and in the inquiry desk, I said, "Please, what am I doing wrong?" And they laughed and laughed and laughed when I said that I planted roses in a raised bed. So please don't, any of you. We have 2 roses left.
And that's it.
Out of 22, and a lot of empty green pots.
I know, yes.
Which grow my.
Tomatoes. Very
in,
useful.
very
Yeah,
nice.
very smart green pots.
But this is wonderful at a certain time, but it's got a little blouse in.
No, it's really great. It is really great.
But it's very bee friendly. Look at them all.
I mean, it is really your bee corner here.
It's fun. It's fun.
Oh,
And this is such a beauty.
Oh.
It's a real cottage garden plant.
what is it?
That's
It's
a
a
very
little-
good question.
Saxifragi.
No, I'll suddenly get it,
Anyway.
and I'll tell you all about it then. Good morning, gardeners. Yet another boiling hot day, and this is my best friend Carol, who is mercifully 10 years younger than me. So when I'm on my knees at 2:30, and she leaves at 3, she oils all the tools, puts the watering cans away in a row, tips up the barrows, and leaves us ready for the following Monday.
Excellent. And I see that you're clipping the box. Do you find you get any kind of box moth or caterpillar or
No,
anything?
we don't have it this north. We're
No
too
blight?
cold in the winter.
Ah,
Yes, you all have it in Surrey and places, which is where we don't want to live. Thank you very much.
thank you very much. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. If you do enjoy our clips, she is an inspiration, I know. If you do enjoy our clips, then please subscribe to the channel. There's a subscription button somewhere down here, and press the bell icon and you'll be told when there are new clips coming up. And if you think the information is worth something, then you can always buy me a coffee, and the link is in the bio. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back at Common Farm next, and we'll see what we're doing in August there. All right, tra, bye.